In the first episode of Never Have I Ever, you get introduced to Devi Vishakumar. She lives at home with her mother and her cousin Kamala, who's over in the States getting a college degree. And her cousin is gorgeous and nice, but all of that just annoys Devi. She's a teenage girl going into her sophomore year, and she's had a rough go of it in her freshman year of high school. Her father passed away of a heart attack at her high school recital, and then because of that trauma, she couldn't move her legs. She was then kind of known as wheelchair girl in school, and the only people that stuck by her were her two friends, Eleanor and Fabiola, who are kind of nerdy. But then after months and months of her legs not working, she saw Paxton Hall-Yoshida, the school's smoke show, and it compelled her to actually get up out of her wheelchair and walk, and all of a sudden, her legs were fine. So going into her sophomore year, she's looking to get a boyfriend and a fresh start. When Devi gets to school for the first day, she has picked out exactly who her and her friends will date. Eleanor is going to date the mysterious foreign exchange student who is eating an onion and turning Eleanor off by the second. Fabiola will go for a kid named Alex Gomez, while Devi goes for a kid named Jonah, who is obviously gay, but she figures that she can be his beard while it propels her to popularity. Now, all of these people are in the same class with Devi, including her arch rival, a kid named Ben Gross. And Devi and Ben have been rivals since grade school, going back and forth with who is the number one in the class. So while Devi is a little miserable that she has to be in another class with Ben Gross, all of a sudden Paxton Hall-Yoshida walks in, sits in front of her, and now this class isn't looking so bad. Her plan is to talk to Paxton after class, but she gets pulled back into the class by the teacher who wants to talk to both her and Ben Gross about kind of having a truce throughout this school year. He doesn't want both of them disrupting their class with their obvious rivalry. And while they both agree to do it, Devi is insanely competitive, so no one's really buying the fact that this truce will hold up. Now, one of the reasons why Devi absolutely hates Ben is because he's gone around school calling her and her friends the UN. And she figured it was because you've got a black person, an Asian person, and a Middle Eastern person, but she finds out it stands for the unfuckables because nobody wants to hook up with them. And that's a pretty big shot to the ego, and she brings it up in her therapy session that day with her therapist, Dr. Ryan, and she asks Dr. Ryan, "Do you think I'm attractive?" And Dr. Ryan says, "That's creepy. I'm not telling you if you're sexy or not." But in this session, she goes on to talk about how everybody still thinks that she was faking being paralyzed when she wasn't faking at all. Dr. Ryan cuts in and says, "I think I have something that can help you," and Devi rattles off all of these pills, which the doctor isn't going to prescribe, and says, "No, I was thinking more of a grief journal. I think just writing stuff down might help." So after the session, Devi heads home and is eating dinner with her mom and her cousin, and her mom lets her cousin know that Kamala's parents have found her a match to marry. But you can tell that Kamala's not really thrilled about that. She's not into the whole idea of marrying a perfect stranger. And this is upsetting to Devi, who says she did nothing and gets a husband in the mail, and I'm sitting here trying to convince a gay guy to go to Johnny Rockets with me. Because Devi's still in that mindset where she can't see what other people are going through. So the next day at school, she really took Ben Gross's comments to heart, and she comes in dressed like she was the fifth member of Mean Girls. I mean, all dolled up. But it doesn't work out quite that way because she ends up slipping and cutting her leg, and Ben Gross makes fun of her for that. Eventually, the taunting leads to fighting, and they both get sent to the principal's office, where they get signed manual labor around the school. And as they're delivering boxes into one of the rooms, they catch Eleanor hooking up with a kid named Oliver Martinez. And Eleanor was keeping it from Devi because she didn't want to make Devi feel bad, but Eleanor and Oliver have been a thing for a little bit now. And it's upsetting to Davi that she didn't know about this, but it gets even more upsetting when she finds out that Fabiola knew about it the whole time. And since she's a very emotional person, she tells him she's fine, but she runs out of the building and screams at the top of her lungs. When she gets home, she pulls a John McEnroe and chucks a geometry book out of the window. And this is a good time to mention that John McEnroe is narrating all of this because John McEnroe is her dad's favorite tennis player. Upset and hurt, she runs to Dr. Ryan's office to get some advice, and Dr. Ryan tells her that maybe you shouldn't be focused on having a boyfriend because you might not be the best girlfriend right now. And Devi agrees. Dr. Ryan says, "What's something you can do this year that'll make you actually feel good about yourself?" So she thinks about it, and she leaves the office and runs and finds Paxton Hall-Yoshida leaving swim practice and tells him that because you're you and I'm me, I know that there's never going to be a possibility of us ever hooking up, but is there any chance you'd want to have sex with me? And her utter surprise, he says yes. Thank you for watching this recap. If you do not see the next one up in the corner right there on the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up shortly. Please consider following the channel. That'd be cool. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't, there's a thumbs down button for a reason.